Oh, sorry, guys, had some technical difficulties. I was on mute. My apologies. Welcome again to faculty, staff, students, and all the university stakeholders here at Delaware State University. We're particularly pleased to have the first African American and the first woman ever elected to Congress from Delaware with us today, the Honorable Lisa Blunt Rochester, who is also an honorary Hornet. We'll get to the Congresswoman in just a moment, as she's a little tight on time today, but she wanted to be here, and we wanted to have her here for some special announcements. The person pictured on the screen in front of you is Dr. Gerald Gleason. Dr. Gerald Gleason was the principal of East Side High School in Paterson, New Jersey, the famed East Side High School. Many of you may remember the movie Lean on Me, where East Side High School was depicted. Dr. Gleason was the principal there and is a proud Hornet himself. Unfortunately, he passed away of COVID-19 just a few days ago. And I have talked to a few people that knew Dr. Gleason well. He was a proud Hornet, played football here. And I can tell you to a person that he was well loved and respected, a great father, husband, and community leader, and also a good Omega man. We are sad for his family, for sure, but I did have the opportunity to see a note, an exchange from his daughter, who will be an incoming freshman on the softball team next year, and her coach. And just the words that she used to describe her father said it all. So we are wishing the Gleason family well. We know how proud an alum he was, but more important, we know how good a man Dr. Gleason was. So to his family, from the Hornet family, we want to wish you much love. Let's take a moment of silence to honor Dr. Gleason. Thank you. Now, we now have Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester. I'm glad to say not only my Congresswoman, but one of my dear friends. How you doing, Congresswoman? You're on mute, I think.
Let's see.
There you go.
Did they unmute me?
You're all good now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Allen. I'm so pleased to be with you. And as you said, we are colleagues, but we are friends. And we are so blessed in the state of Delaware to have you as the president of Delaware State University. Your leadership has always been incomparable. But to have you at the illustrious Delaware State University right now, at this moment in our history, I cannot think of a better person to be of service to our state, our community, and to Delaware State University. So thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Congresswoman, and I can't say enough about your work, but I want to get right into it today. I can tell you that without you and your colleagues in Congress, particularly Senator Coons and Senator Carper, not much would get done around here in Delaware. You all are stalwarts. And we had an opportunity to talk about the CARES package several weeks ago. And like Lisa does, she went right to work. So I am pleased to announce, because many people on this call don't even know, that as a result of Congress Blunt Rochester's work.
Tony, wait.
Yes, go ahead.
Before you announce that, I just want to say, also, I got to say to the Hornet family, I want to say to the students, to the teachers, the faculty, staff, the families that are associated with Delaware State University, as well as the board and all of the stakeholders across the state, that I am just proud to be now a honorary Hornet after receiving that degree, but also that I just want to send my love out to all of them, especially as we go through this time. I especially, you started off with Dr. Gleason and honoring this incredible man for his service, and having been a person who passed from COVID. We all know so many people who have, particularly in communities of color, we're seeing it even more hard. We're more hard hit. And whether it's our health, our economics, or from an educational standpoint, now more than ever, Senator Carper and Senator Coons and I are trying to be those advocates for our state. So I just want to send my love and best wishes out to Dr. Gleason and his family, and also to all of the Hornet family who are being either stricken with COVID-19 or have family members or friends. Um, you know, today is actually National Teachers Day. And so, to have an educator be honored today and to be talking to you, a school of higher education, there's no better way to honor our teachers today than the announcement that you're going to make. So now I will turn it back over to you, Dr. Allen.
No, that was the right forward. I just want to say, because everybody's listening today, that is the reason you are so fantastic, because you always start with people first, your passion and energy. And as I said to the university community, a couple of weeks we talked and you all went to work. And as a result of Congresswoman Blunt Rochester's work, Delaware State University has been awarded $5.6 million in one portion of the CARES Act and another $11.3 million in another portion of the CARES Act. That 11.3 is pretty important, because one of the things we talked to Congresswoman Rochester about was this notion that all universities are not created equal. Congresswoman Rochester, why don't you talk a little bit about that notion and how you and your colleagues advocated for this fantastic effort?
First of all, I'm also a member of a bipartisan caucus in the House of Representatives for HBCUs, led by Alma Adams from North Carolina, the Congresswoman who has been to Delaware State University and actually gave the commencement when I got my honorary degree. And so one of the things that we tried to do is uplift the fact that, HBCUs, those 1890 institutions, minority serving institutions, many times don't have the same access to resources or huge endowments, and at the same time, or even research dollars for that matter. And so part of what we wanted to do is say, we've got to pay special attention to those institutions that are turning out incredible people, including my two kids, Alex and Alyssa, and my daughter-in-law, that all went to HBCUs.
Tell them where they went,
Okay,
Congresswoman.
so Alyssa went to Winston-Salem State University, and she is a Ram. And my son, Alex, and his wife, he met his wife at Morgan State University. So they are Bears. And now I could say I'm a Hornet.
That's right.
But we know that we have to support these institutions, because not only are they historical, but they have produced some of the greatest scientists, elected officials, teachers, you name it. And it is an integral part of our society. And we want to make sure that as we go through this pandemic, you stay strong and you are able to weather the storm, because we know it was already challenging before COVID-19. So that really was the impetus for us saying there has to be that focus on these institutions that have uplifted our country.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. And we're not out of the woods yet. The fall is very uncertain for us, and we're looking at many, many different scenarios, whether we start late or we go online for the fall. All those have implications, as you know, for the entire university community. You've talked and we've heard about a potential stimulus package for any insights, anything we can expect from that package?
Yeah, we are actually in the process right now. We just had a caucus-wide call yesterday, and we continue to have these marathon calls to get feedback on what are the current needs as a result of the past 6 weeks, whether it's testing, and making sure that that testing is really targeted in those communities that need the testing, that there's a rapid response, that we are actually then doing the right public health things to make sure that we know who was contacted and that we have contact tracing. So those are the discussions we're having in Delaware, but I'm also a member of a small working group for the Congressional Black Caucus that is focused on making sure that from a health standpoint, the resources go to the right places, and that we're just using the data and the science to make the best decisions. So you will see over the next couple of weeks The House is putting together CARES 2.0 package. And we also want to focus on those frontline workers that are doing the work. And it includes not just the healthcare and first responders, but also those individuals that, again, are stocking our shelves, that are driving our buses, that are those people that are allowing the system to keep going through this pandemic. So look out for that. Again, more investment in education as well has to be a primary focus, because we know this is health, it is economic, and it is education that all fit together.
Well, thank you for that, Congresswoman. And again, thank you for your enduring support. I just got two more quick questions for you, one of which I think is really important for our audience. You had what could have been a very traumatic experience last week on social media. And as you do, you turned it around for the good. Why don't you tell all of us a little bit about that experience and how you thought about it and dealt with it in the moment?
So thank you for bringing that up, because I do think it's symbolic of these times. As some people know, I participated with another colleague of mine, as well as the SBA and state officials, on a call hosted by the state, the Delaware Black Legislative Caucus, and members of the General Assembly. And part of it was to help small businesses know what the resources were in terms of money and legislation being passed. And during the end of the call, it was crazy because my computer actually died, and I had to run, grab the cord, plug it in. And when I plugged it in, up on the screen showed a black screen with writing that started to spell the N word with a swastika, and then some pornography showed up on the screen. And I will tell you, it was not even, like people are saying, oh, that was such a great response and you're so whatever. It wasn't even a thought. It was like that God just jumped into my head and said, no weapon that's formed against you shall prosper. Keep it going.
Yeah.
We are in this for the positive and for the good. And so just be focused. And then the other instinct was mama bear, because I got kids and it's like, stop. This is right there. And so and then I had to, I wanted to do a response video, because I wanted people to understand that what COVID-19 is doing is just shining a light. It's shining a light on the things that were already there. We already know that we have had health disparities. We've been working on this, Tony, from urban. Many people have been working on these issues for years. We already know that we have challenges in terms of some of the divisions in our country, but it also points out the goodness of people, the people who are putting their lives on the line to help other people. The people who are changing their business practices so that they can help in the effort. And so what I wanted to do in that message is not say, because we can have differences of opinion, but be respectful. Recognize that we're all in this together, and it's stressful for everybody. And ultimately, this is a test of love, loving each other, loving this country, just loving yourself enough to take care of your physical and mental health during this. And so it was like I said, just the spirit came and moved, and I just wanted to spread some love and positivity as a result.
What was meant for evil turned to good.
That's right. Amen. Yep.
One more question for you. If we have the virtual commencement on May 16th, it's our first one in 129 years. We're very excited about it. We have a lot of celebrity shout outs coming, including one from you. We have many members of the class of 2020 on the line now. What is your message for them?
Well, I guess part of it goes back to what you as a university are doing. I mean, I congratulate you for setting up that fund for students, and having people like, Chip Rossi and his wife contributing and showing that we're connected. And I think probably one of the things that has resonated with me throughout my life is funny. I look up on my wall as I'm going through this process. I like to tape Post-its and stuff around so I can remind myself. And I'm just going to read what's up on my wall because it's here.
Okay.
The first is a scripture that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13, because we need strength right now. And then there's a index card that just has some bullets. Don't whine. Like, don't be a whiner, because many of us can do that right now. Be grateful. Even though it's tough right now, think about what blessings you have. You woke up, the sun is shining, whatever it is. Find something to be grateful about. Tomorrow is not promised. When I look at Dr. Gleason, I think of my late husband, who was also an Omega man, who died at 52 and was unexpected. Tomorrow's not promised. That's why you have these graduations now virtually, because you don't know who won't be here to see you later in the fall. Tomorrow's not promised. The only one that I need to please is God. That's a big one. That's a big lesson for me, because everybody likes to be liked. Everybody's not going to like you all the time. But remember what your intention is. Why are you doing what you're doing? Then I have love yourself, stay prayed up, and no ego. That's a big one. And there's I think it was Wayne Dyer that said ego stands for edging God out. Get rid of your ego and just do the work, whatever you are called to do. Just do it. Just do it. And we're proud of you.
Look at you giving the commencement speech already.
Love you guys so much.
And we love you too, Congresswoman. Thank you for everything. And she's so modest. She's also donated to the COVID Student Emergency Relief Fund, because that's who she is. Wherever she goes, she's the same person. And that is great for us, great for our community, great for her family, and I would say great for the nation. This woman is just recently selected to help presidential candidate Joe Biden pick his vice president selection. And I think that just the fact that she didn't mention it tells you everything you need to know about her. She puts her head down and goes to work, and we couldn't thank you enough. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Allen, and thank you to the whole team and to all the students. Congratulations, and take care. Take care. Be safe.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So you just saw a little bit of greatness, everyone, and we were so pleased to have her join us here. Even more importantly, we have made real headway as it relates to forging relationships with our congressional leaders, and that has helped us financially. I can't say enough the fact that we are not yet out of the woods. We still have a long, long way to go, but our interest is to make sure that we are preserving this university, and we are growing through it, learning from and growing through it, and we need everyone to help us do that. I now want to turn my attention to our exceptional Chief Enterprise Risk Officer, the chair of the COVID-19 Task Force for Delaware State University. She has been laser focused in making sure that we are thinking through every piece of the university as we get through this moment. You've heard from her a few times in these forums, but I wanted her to give you a sense of where we are, and then we'll open it up for questions. Lucretia Moultrie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allen, and good morning to everyone that's participating in the forum today, and how grateful we all should be to have the Congresswoman join us and share those words of inspiration. So I hope that everyone took her words to heart just like I did. But I'm here today to provide you all with just a few critical updates regarding the university's COVID-19 task force and some new university policies. Just to set the scene, in the news, we've all seen a lot of reports regarding states reopening and so forth. But just to be clear, in Delaware, we continue to operate under the state of emergency that was issued by the governor, at least until May 15th. And we're required to shelter in place. The travel is still limited. And of course, the business operations of the university are limited to those that are considered to be essential. So most recently, we saw the 13th modification that was released on April the 25th. And generally speaking, what that modification requires is that adults wear a cloth face covering when you're in certain public places. And the modification specifically talks about businesses and their obligations to employees. So businesses are required to provide face coverings and hand sanitizers to their employees. Now, there are some of our employees that are reporting to work because they do have essential reporting duties. And I'm sure you're very well aware that we have our hand sanitizer that's widely available throughout campus. Please continue to use it. With regard to the face coverings, the university has made orders for face coverings, but currently our supply is limited. So we think it really prudent and critical to make sure that we're reserving those face coverings for our campus police and our student health center, but we do have orders pending. And in the meantime, what I want to encourage everyone to do is visit our COVID-19 landing page. And we have some great how-to videos on that webpage. Specifically, Ms. Erin Forgan of our own Student Health Center has created a video that shows you how to make your homemade face covering. So you can use that to protect yourself while you're on campus, as well as when you're running your errand to the grocery store. And when you protect yourself outside of the scope of your workplace duties, you're protecting our campus community overall. So in the meantime, we have issued a campus policy in line with that 13th modification. And specifically what we're requiring anyone who is an essential reporting employee or a visitor is that you wear your face covering on campus unless you have a health issue that prohibits you from doing so. Our policy, I just want to clarify that, while we're currently unable to provide face coverings widely, we are consistent with the governor's order. The governor's order, of course, accounts for that and encourages all employees to fashion your personal face coverings in line with the CDC guidelines until your employer is able to provide those to you. Also, because the university continues to prioritize everyone's health and safety, I want to remind you that even if you're wearing a face covering, it's really important that you continue to practice your social distancing. And you also continue to be really diligent about your personal hygiene. So washing your hands and using the hand sanitizer and wiping down your workspaces as well. So essential, because we want to make sure that we're reducing our on-campus footprint, we thought it best to really move forward with greater restrictions to access to campus. So we've identified all of our essential reporting employees and visitors, and we've created a master list, which Enterprise Risk Management and Campus Security, we both use. If your name appears on that list, you've received an email from me on April 30th that gives you some directions and guidance about how we're limiting access to campus. If your name does not appear on that master list, there is a process, because we do realize that some situations will arise for our essential employees that may need to access campus here and there. What you do is you go on the campus, the COVID-19 landing page, and there is a request to access campus form. Once you submit that form, the respective VP of your department will either approve or disapprove your request. One thing that I want to emphasize is, if your request is approved, not only do we need you to wear your face covering when you come to campus, we also need you to complete the essential business screening form, which is on the COVID-19 landing page. So those are two forms that we should all be familiar with, and those forms are only accessible to our employees and essential visitors who come to our campus. So it's important to note that we're not only managing the current circumstances related to this crisis, but we're planning for the future. Dr. Allen touched on earlier today that we're thinking through fall and figuring out, what our academic plan will be, but we're also planning for our immediate future. To our students, I know that you are understandably really anxious about getting back on campus and being able to move out of your dorms. We know that. And we are already in the process of establishing a move out procedure. And we're going to be very detailed about that process, because once again, we need to not only comply with the governor's orders, but ensure everyone's health and safety. So please, the exact timing is unclear at this time because we are following the guidance from the governor, but please know, because we are currently planning, once the circumstances change and we're able to start that process, we will be able to move quickly. We appreciate your patience at this time, and please continue to visit the COVID-19 landing page on the website for additional information and updates. And to our employees, we are thinking about how we will eventually resume operations on campus in a more regular fashion, whatever that will look like. But just please know that what we're keeping at the forefront of our minds is, the needs of our employees and the needs of each particular department. So at this point in time, we appreciate you all. The campus is operating as well as it does because you're all doing your part to continue things moving at the university, whether you're working remotely at home or you're one of our essential employees that comes to the university to do your work. Everyone's critical to our operations here at DSU. So on behalf of ERM, I thank you all very much. If you have any questions or concerns moving forward, feel free to use the COVID-19 hotline. That number is 302-531-5554. And I thank you all for your time and attention and participating today. And I encourage you all to just be safe.
Thank you, Lucretia, for that excellent report. We're going to open it up for Q&A today. We have plenty of time, so I'm going to turn it to Mr. McMillan to see what's in the chat, and then we'll go to the phones. Darryl?
Right here, taking a look. One question that we currently have is there any updates on when students will be able to move out of their dorms?
And so I'll start, and then I'll turn it over to Lucretia. As a matter of course, it's important to be reminded that the shelter-in-place order issued by the governor is in place until May 15th. Now, you heard the governor a few weeks ago talk about how long that shelter-in-place order might last beyond May 15th. We very much expect that will be extended. If it is in fact extended, we will think through the best way for you to actually get your stuff and still be in compliance with state law. Lucretia?
I really don't have much to add. Just know that we're monitoring the situation. And as I mentioned, as soon as there is some leeway and travel permissible under the governor's orders, we will have and ready to go and adapt to the circumstances and start the move out process.
The question, Darryl?
Yes, sir. Are students allowed to come back to campus provided they have protective gear on, masks?
Not at this time. As you know, we are housing about 200 students on campus who either had no other residential option or came from precarious environments. We are taking care of them regularly every day. But those students who are not on campus at the present, again, it's important to make sure that we are following the guidelines issued by the governor. And I might add, and Lucretia, you might speak about this, the provisions as it relates to some of our out-of-state students and what that means for traveling to Delaware.
Right. So as I mentioned earlier, Delaware is still operating under a state of emergency, and there are several provisions that attach to that. And one of them being travel is very limited in the state. So for example, essential travel is allowed under the order, but essential travel includes traveling to your doctor's appointments, traveling to get food from a grocery store. It does not include travel to campus for move out purposes. It does not include travel to campus for the purposes of trying to visit someone. That's not travel that's permitted within the state of Delaware. Another critical piece of the emergency order in Delaware is travel across state lines is also restricted. So there are very strict quarantine requirements for individuals who cross state lines to come into Delaware as well. So it's not only our university policy that says, no, students, even if you have your personal protective gear, you can't come to campus. It's the university operating in line with the directives that we have from the governor's office.
Great. Thank you, Lucretia.
Will the fall semester become a hybrid semester?
We're looking through all choices. We're doing a lot of scenario planning. It's important to note the Delaware State's task force has been up and running since late March. So we've gotten a fairly good jump on our planning for both the summer and the fall. Many universities have not even yet begun to start thinking about that planning. So for the summer that we are completely online. The scenarios we're thinking through for the fall include normal operations. That is possible. We are monitoring that closely, obviously. Could be a late start, but normal operations, that's also a possibility. Could be online, as a matter of course, or it could be, to this point, some hybrid situation. All those things have implications around safety and security, and will include enhanced protocols that many of you haven't seen before at our university, and also some implications as it relates to our finances and our ability to accommodate all of the many scenarios we'll need to make sure that we are operating efficiently and effectively. So we are looking through all of those. As those plans become more material, we'll certainly be sharing those with the entire university community.
Are there plans on how the funds from CARES Act will be spent moving forward?
To be honest, the Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, Senator Coons, Senator Carper really helped us get through the end of the year. So I wouldn't think of those as surplus funds as much as I would think of those as opportunities for us to recapture some of our lost revenue and and to accommodate for all of the additional unanticipated expenses from COVID-19. As we look into the next fiscal year, and you all know that our fiscal year starts July 1, we are still facing significant financial headwinds, and we will deal with those with the best resources and the best interest of the entire university community in mind.
Is there any plan to offer online courses with DTCC and other local higher education institutions to make it more affordable for both students and being beneficial for the institutions?
That's a great question. We have not explored those possibilities as yet, but I would say all options are in fact on the table. I've certainly had conversations with my peers in the Delaware higher education community, but we have not explored that topic. That is something we can take up as well.
Are we getting any money back from not doing a full semester due to the virus?
No, we've actually lost some significant revenue, as you might imagine. One of the first responsibilities, and we thought it was important for us to take that in stride, was to make sure that we provided cost of attendance credits back to our students. That was an important piece for us. It did create some financial strain on the university, but we thought it was important to do. And we were one of the first colleges and universities to do that in the country. So there is some strain that we were facing. Some of that has been alleviated with the help of Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, Senator Coons, and Senator Carper. But the road ahead, as I've said before, is still uncertain.
Will graduates receive commencement books?
Yes, yes. I hope many graduates have already received their gowns, cap and gowns. You will receive commencement books after the commencement itself. I will remind all of you that seniors that you're to upload your pictures in your cap and gowns, so each of you can be featured on the virtual broadcast. If you haven't done that already, I would encourage you to do that. I'd also say for those who are interested in commencement, we just put out a news release about some of the surprises that we have in store for you, and they are just some of them. But you'll be pleased, I believe, at what you see, and I'd encourage you to share with your parents as well. After our commencement will be a commencement of 75 HBCUs sponsored by the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Many of you know our former president, Dr. Harry Williams, is the president of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, and they are doing a very broad commencement, really highlighting all of those 75 HBCUs, and Delaware State is included in that as well.
Faculty needs training in instructional design to help deliver quality online classes. Any thoughts for funding possibility for faculty they would love to use this summer to do that?
Actually, we are getting some additional grant support for those kinds of activities. So more to come on that. We know that professional development around instructional design is important. It's one of the reasons that we did the deal with Apple 2 years ago. We will be taking advantage of their expertise as well moving forward here, but certainly we're going to invest in that particular effort, regardless of where we end up in the fall. We do know that the digital environment has taught us some things that we believe will be best practice as long as we can create real improvement opportunities. And we want to make that a part of our new normal.
When will the exact pass-fail credit be announced? Procedures be announced, and do students contact the professor, chairs, deans, etc.?
We will document that for you in writing over the next couple of weeks. Remember, you will first get your letter grade, and then you will have ample opportunity to choose the pass-fail option. And I do mean ample opportunity. So don't think that you'll have to make a decision right away, but we will give you ample opportunity to look through it, make sure that you're comfortable with the letter grade, or you want to opt in to the option provided for you. So more details to come on that here shortly.
How am I to return my retail information back to the bookstore? So how do I take stuff back to the bookstore?
Again, that'll all be a part of our process as we go through move out. Certainly there will be some folks who are not residential to the campus that will need that same kind of facility. So we'll be taking all of that into consideration.
Are there any employment opportunities for students for the university, whether it be in person or telework?
We actually are employing a fair amount of student workers now. That was one of the provisions we wanted to make sure we kept in place through this semester. In the summer, those opportunities will be naturally reduced. And then we'll have to see what the fall brings. Again, there is so much uncertainty in the broader environment. What we don't want to do is make you promises that we can't keep. What we do want to do is preserve those opportunities that you have had and hopefully will continue to have moving forward.
Is the university or state considering laying off or furloughs for non-essential employees, faculty, or staff, and the shelter in place is extended past the May 15 timeframe?
We have not at present considered that option. We will be implementing a hiring freeze, and that opportunity is specifically to make sure that we do as much as possible to preserve our faculty and staff in this environment. So no consideration of layoffs or furloughs at this time. As I said, we're going through all the scenarios that we think are going to work best to make sure we preserve the interest of our entire university, and where we can create savings without those kinds of measures, that's exactly what we're doing.
Is the virtual commencement the only ceremony for May graduates?
As I said early in the process, there will be an opportunity for an in-person graduation for the class of 2020. I believe my original indication was that I would continue to monitor the situation and then make a determination, meaning put out a date by July 1. That is still my intent. If situations on the ground change, certainly I will update you, but my intent is to make that announcement on or before July 1.
That's it, Tony.
Okay. Well, thank you all. I do want to close with a couple of thoughts. The first is, over the weekend, one of our law enforcement officers, Patrolman Siebert, actually saved a life. As you know, folks in the line of fire have the highest sacrifice as it relates to their job, and the patrolman performed ably in that regard. Just one example of the many things that continue to go on here at Delaware State University. I know I don't get the opportunity to see you all the time, but as I see Dr. Von Dong get another research grant, and Dr. Das become a Fulbright scholar. And student after student talk to us about their job opportunities and what that means for their future. And the students who are still giving us very, very candid depictions of what's happening in their environment. To me, it is the type of university we want to be, one that is candid, has tough conversations with each other when we have to, and makes the right decisions. And most importantly, honors those who have come before us and have themselves sacrificed so that we could be right here in this moment. So as I close, I'll close as I began, just making sure that you take the opportunity to think about those you love the most. I know many of you, like me, have lost someone during this particular time. And whether you're the family of Dr. Gleason or the family of many others that are going through this crisis, just remember that tomorrow is not promised. And it is very important that we spend time thinking about those we love in the most responsible ways. I'm just looking up what Congresswoman Rochester said because I thought it was important. She had 5 things that everybody should keep in mind. Be grateful. Don't whine. Tomorrow's not promised. Love yourself and no ego. That is who we are, my friends, and that's what's going to make us strong throughout this crisis. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.